Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quiz Class. I'm Ellen, your host, and today we have 100 questions on general knowledge. Let's begin. What 1938 agreement ceded the Sudetenland to Germany in an attempt to avoid war? The Munich Agreement, the Berlin Agreement, or the Frankfurt Agreement? The Munich Agreement. What did Alan Turing's 1936 paper lay the foundation for? Modern encryption science, modern computer science, or modern cryptocurrencies? Modern computer science. What psychological theories were developed by Jean Piaget in the 1930s? Adult cognitive development, childhood development, or geriatric cognitive development? Childhood cognitive development. What natural disaster devastated the U.S. Midwest in the 1930s, displacing farmers? The Dust Bowl, the Midwest Storm, or the Great Drought? The Dust Bowl. Which 1939 pact solidified Italy's alliance with Germany on the eve of World War II? Pact of Steel, Pact of Iron, or Pact of Diamond? Pact of Steel. What type of travel made weekend getaways more accessible in the 1930s? Car, bus, or train? Train. Who performed the 1931 protest song, Which Side Are You On? Florence Reese, Florence Rice, or Florence Reese with a double E and a CE? Florence Reese, Reece. What material was replaced by vinyl in records during the late 1930s? Tin, shellac, or sap? Shellac. Which university founded the Institute for Advanced Study in the U.S. in 1930? Princeton, Yale, or Harvard? Princeton. Which 1935 New Deal policy changed U.S. social policy? Social Security, Social Standard, or Social Solidarity? Social Security. What lake was created by the Hoover Dam in 1936? Lake Honey, Lake Maple, or Lake Mead? Lake Mead. Which British king ascended in the abdication crisis of 1936? King George IV, King George V, or King George VI? King George VI. Which Spanish Civil War battle occurred in 1936 with a nationalist siege? Battle of Torino, of Tampano, or of Toledo? The Battle of Toledo. Which country did Italian forces invade in 1939 to expand Mussolini's empire? Albania, Egypt, or Ethiopia? Albania. Which 1930 tariff worsened the global economic downturn? The Smoot-Hawley, the Stute-Hawley, or the Swoot-Hawley? The Smoot-Hawley tariff. Which type of gown, popularized by Hollywood in the 1930s, emphasized body contours? Drop waist, empire, or bias cut? Bias cut. Which type of advertisements helped the Butterfinger candy bar gain popularity in the 1930s? Billboards, radio, or train? Radio. Which ocean did aviator Amelia Earhart disappear over in 1937? The Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, or the Atlantic Ocean? The Pacific Ocean. What ancient empire was a focus of archaeological discovery in the 1930s? Persia, Rome, or Egypt? Egypt. For question 20, what 1940 film featured Charlie Chaplin mocking Hitler in his first talking role? The Great Struggle, The Great Hero, or The Great Dictator? The Great Dictator. What group of ancient objects were discovered starting in 1947? Olmec colossal heads, Roman dodecadrons, or Dead Sea Scrolls? The Dead Sea Scrolls. What material saw increased production during World War II for military use? Wool, bamboo, or flax? Wool. In which decade did Mount Everest expeditions ramp up ahead of the first summit in 1953? The 1920s, the 1930s, or the 1940s? The 1930s. What could the special Panoram Soundies jukebox play in the 1940s? Short films, movie scores, or radio broadcasts? Short films. Which beauty brand provided kits to American women in the military during World War II? Avon, Elizabeth Arden, or Pond's? Elizabeth Arden. What language became a lingua franca in East Africa during World War II? Farsi, Arabic, or Swahili? Swahili. What country was the nuclear fission physicist Niels Bohr, who worked on the Manhattan Project, from? The Netherlands, Germany, or Denmark? The Netherlands. What important U.S. festival returned in 1946 after a World War II hiatus? 4th of July, New Orleans Mardi Gras, or U.S. Open Tennis Championships? The New Orleans Mardi Gras. What project did Eero Saarinen design in 1947? Pentagon expansion, White House expansion, or Jefferson National Expansion Memorial? The Jefferson National Expansion Memorial. What was Mahalia Jackson known as after her 1947 recording? Queen of Blues, Queen of Jazz, or Queen of Gospel? The Queen of Gospel. What did the 1947 Truman Doctrine commit to contain? War, communism, or immigration? Communism. What did the 1948 film Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein not incorporate? Musical, horror, or comedy? Musical. What was the first officially named Atlantic hurricane in 1947? Hurricane Abel, Hurricane Aaron, or Hurricane August? Hurricane Abel. What did the 1948 U.S. election radio coverage wrongly report? Dewey defeats Truman, Dewey wrecks Truman, or Dewey ruins Truman? Dewey defeats Truman. Which LA venue expanded its seating and acoustics in the 1940s? Hollywood Bowl, Rose Bowl, or Griffith Observatory? The Hollywood Bowl. Which 1946 project proposed the feasibility of artificial satellites? Project Land, Project Rand, or Project Wand? Project Rand. What was KTLA, the first commercial TV station west at its 1947 launch? Mississippi, Potomac, or Hudson? Mississippi. Which magazine founder used his platform to promote an interventionist stance in World War II? Anthony Overton, Brighton Hayden, or Henry Luce? Henry Luce. Which baseball player was the last to hit over .400, achieving a .406 average in 1941? Lou Gehrig, Stan Musial, or Ted Williams? Ted Williams. What did Executive Order 9981 pass in 1948? Remove the ban on women working in the military after marriage, U.S. military desegregation, or the right to object as a public servant? U.S. military desegregation. What was NBC's American Broadcasting Company network before 1943? Blue Network, Red Network, or Yellow Network? Blue Network. What did the 1956 publication of Allen Ginsberg Howl poem spark? Indecency trial, obscenity trial, or crassness trial? Obscenity trial. Which 1959 film used 7,000 extras? Cleopatra, Ben-Hur, or The Ten Commandments? Ben-Hur. Which war began in 1954, challenging French colonial rule? The Algerian War of Independence, the Moroccan War of Independence, or the Tunisian War of Independence? The Algerian War of Independence. Which designer is not credited with creating stiletto heels in the 1950s? Roger Vivier, Coco Chanel, or Salvatore Ferragamo? Coco Chanel. Which tool gained widespread use after World War II among military and outdoor enthusiasts? Swiss Army knife, US Army knife, or Australian Army knife? US Army knife. Who wasn't a writer of the much debated 1953 book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Female? Alfred C. Kinsey, Clyde E. Martin, or Judith Reisman? Alfred C. Kinsey. Which 1952 event led to the Clean Air Act in the UK? The Great Fire of London, the Great Smog of London, or the Great Flu of London? The Great Smog of London. What was Lay's first flavored chip launched in the 1950s? Ranch, barbecue, or salsa? Barbecue. Which Japanese car manufacturer temporarily ceased production from 1950 to 1964? Datsun, Mazda, or Mitsubishi? Mitsubishi. Which Chuck Berry song set the standard for rock guitar riffs in 1958? Johnny B. Rotten, Johnny B. Naughty, or Johnny B. Good? Johnny B. Good. What Bic pen was launched in 1959? Cristal, Cristal, or Cristal with a CH? Is it spelled with a K, a C, or a CH? Cristal with a C. What new material developed by chemists led to widespread plastic packaging in the 1950s? Polyethylene, polypropylene, or polycarbon? Polyethylene. What anti-anxiety drug was the first tranquilizer marketed for general nervousness in 1958? Librium, Valium, or Xanax? Librium. Which eyeshadow shades were inspired by Hollywood's turn to Technicolor in the late 1950s? Glitter, cream, or pastel? Pastel. What term describes someone effortlessly stylish or relaxed with a jazz influence? Jazz cat, groove cat, or cool cat? Cool cat. What film genre was World War II hero Audie Murphy a 1950s star of? Comedy, Western, or romance? Western. What screw design became popular for its efficiency in the 1950s? Truss head, bugle head, or Phillips head? Phillips head. What did Play-Doh originally begin as in 1956? Jewelry mold, insulator, or wallpaper cleaner? Wallpaper cleaner. Which city's iced coffee trend gained traction in the 1950s, influenced by European origins? Boston, New Orleans, or New York City? New Orleans. We are at question 61. Which type of 1950s mascara was sold in small compacts with a brush? Patty mascara, cookie mascara, or cake mascara? Cake mascara. Which color highlighter was conceived in experimental forms in the late 1950s? Orange, green, or yellow? Yellow. Which Disney comic character's adventurous tales became bestsellers in Europe? Uncle Scrooge, Uncle Boreas, or Uncle Oswidge? Uncle Scrooge. Which scandal in 1963 exposed a British politician's affair and caused uproar? The Profumo affair, Parfumo affair, or Puerfumo affair? The Profumo affair. Which superhero was introduced by DC Comics as its first black superhero in 1966? Black Puma, Black Jaguar, or Black Panther? Black Panther. What type of song hit lists flourished in the 1960s? What type of song hit lists? The top 20, the top 40, or the top 60? Top 40. What change in spiral notebooks made them more convenient in the 1960s? Top binding, replaceable binding, or side binding? Side binding. Which poet won the 1967 Pulitzer Prize for a collection about mental illness? Sylvia Plath, Maya Angelou, or Anne Sexton? Anne Sexton. What was ibuprofen originally developed for in 1961? Gastritis, gout, or arthritis? Arthritis. What type of memory chip didn't Intel produce in the 1960s? DRAM, CRAM, or SRAM? CRAM. What was Revlon's 1960s Charlie perfume and makeup line inspired by? The feminist movement, festival movement, or free love movement? Feminist movement. What music format introduced in 1964 allowed song choices on portable devices? 4-track tapes, 8-track tapes, or 16-track tapes? Eight-track tapes. Which leader led France out of NATO's military command in 1966? Georges Pompidou, Philippe Pétain, or Charles de Gaulle? Charles de Gaulle. How much did the first handheld calculator weigh when launched in 1967? Over 1 pound, over 2 pounds, or over 3 pounds? Over 2 pounds. What 1962 children's toy immersed children in suburban life? Lego, the Barbie Dream House, or Cabbage Patch Kids? The Barbie Dream House. Which cocktail became Puerto Rico's national drink in 1979? Mojito, Piña Colada, or the daiquiri? The daiquiri. What casual apparel was inspired by 1970s disco? Cashmere sweatsuit, cheesecloth muumuu, or velour loungewear? Velour loungewear. Who brought the first cordless drill design to market in 1978? Black & Decker, Bostitch, or Makita? Makita. Which 1970s slang term from vinyl records meant "see you later"? Catch you later, alligator, catch you on the flip side, or see you on the flip side? Catch you on the flip side. Which 1975 fad sold over 1 million units as a low-maintenance pet? Slinky, Weebles, or Pet Rock? Pet Rock. What film introduced the summer blockbuster format in 1975? Alien, Superman, or Jaws? Jaws. Which Seamus Heaney collection reflected on Irish history and gained acclaim in 1975? National, North, or Newry? North. Which journalist made history in 1976 as the first female co-anchor on network news? Connie Chung, Diane Sawyer, or Barbara Walters? Barbara Walters. What was the duration of the Lebanese Civil War after it began in 1975? 5, 10, or 15? 15. Which ancient discovery in 1974 shed new light on an entire nation's history? Subterranean mills in Switzerland, the Terracotta Army in China, or the Mumun pottery in Korea? The Terracotta Army in China. Which sport had its first live league game broadcasted on the BBC in the 1980s? Tennis, football, or cricket? Football. Which nuclear energy form briefly gained attention in 1989 before being discredited? Cold fusion, atom splitting, or hydrogen fission? Cold fusion. Which Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel gained acclaim after its 1980 publication? House, Mouse, or Rouse? Mouse. What astronomical discovery in 1988 hinted at planetary systems beyond our solar system? Exoplanets, interplanets, or extraplanets? Exoplanets. Question 90. Which two countries re-established diplomatic relations in 1984 after a century-long hiatus? The US and the Vatican, the US and China, or the US and Armenia? The US and Vatican. Which comic series, debuting in 1984, evolved into a billion-dollar franchise? X-Men, Transformers, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which cosmetics brand designed for professional artists launched in 1984? MAC Cosmetics, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, or The Body Shop? MAC Cosmetics. What was the Rogaine product approved for hair regrowth in 1988 originally developed for? Diabetes, high blood pressure, or asthma? High blood pressure. What was the recording budget for Michael Jackson's 1982 Thriller album? $75,000, $750,000, or $7.5 million? $750,000. Which policy transformed China's economy toward globalization in the 1980s? Open door, open market, or open season? The open door policy. Which video game system revived the industry upon its 1985 North American release? Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Master System, or ColecoVision? Nintendo Entertainment System. What technology contributed to the 1980s slang term veg out, describing relaxing or laziness? Walkman, the remote control, or Lazy Boy? Remote control. Which 1980 novel by Umberto Eco combined history with mystery, becoming an international bestseller? The Limits of Interpretation, The Name of the Rose, or The Island of the Day Before? The Name of the Rose. What type of top is on the AT&T building in New York, designed by Philip Johnson in 1984? Chippendale, Chesterfield, or Cartwright? Chippendale. Which 1980s gadget allowed people to talk freely while moving around the house? Intercom system, cordless phone, or walkie-talkie? The cordless phone. And for our bonus question, what marital event is focused on in 1979 film Kramer versus Kramer? Let us know the answer in the comments. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we will see you in our next one. Bye-bye.